Life can be tiring, right? Life can be exhausting sometimes. So, if you were given the opportunity to sleep, not for, a night or a day or a week or a month, but if you could sleep for an entire year, would you take that opportunity? Of course, you can get up to eat, you can have comfort breaks, but can you imagine trying to sleep for an entire year? Well, that is the subject, really, of this book, My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. And this is what I'm going to be talking about on episode 40 of Good Art, Bad Art, my series where I mainly explore music, but every 10 episodes I like to dive into a book. And I do one take for 8 minutes, share my thoughts on is this good art, is this bad art? If you're a long-term viewer, hello, good to see you. If you're a new viewer, hi. My name's Greg, I'm a composer. I hope you enjoy this and please subscribe if you do enjoy it. So, let's dive into this book. Ottessa Moshfegh. She is one of my favourite recent authors, contemporary authors, modern authors. I think she's in her 40s, yeah? She's writing now. She's contemporary. The other books I've looked at so far in this series have been Ulysses by James Joyce, The Master and Margarita by Bulgakov, and what was the other one? I looked at Lolita by Nabokov. Anyway, so this is much more recent. Written, I think, in 2018, published in 2018. I'll just say roughly what it's about, and then I'll go into my thoughts on it. Yeah, is it good art or bad art? So there might be some spoilers. Yeah, so if you haven't read it, watch out for the spoilers. So it's quite a dark book. Yeah, the protagonist, the unnamed protagonist, she is a attractive young lady, by all accounts successful. She's an art history graduate from Columbia. She's working in an art gallery in Manhattan. And yeah, things are going pretty good, except she's deeply unhappy. That's not going well. She's deeply unhappy. She finds life meaningless. Yeah, it's quite a nihilistic book. It's grappling with this thought of, what the hell am I doing with my life? I'm unhappy in my life, even though I might seem successful to outsiders. And she's a very unlikable person. Yeah, she's pretty unlikable, which is why this book can divide people, I think. Some people just don't like reading about unlikable characters. But I certainly do. Yeah, of course, it depends on how the book's written. But I found it very interesting and at times amusing, and at times just compelling, darkly compelling, actually, to follow her through her attempt to forcefully put herself to sleep, because that's what she tries to do. She wants to just block out life. Yeah, she wants to literally be unconscious for as many hours in the day as possible. In fact, I'll read a paragraph just to describe how much she likes sleeping. So, here we go. Just to give you a flavour of the book's language and the subject matter. Here we go. Oh, sleep. Nothing else could ever bring me such pleasure, such freedom, the power to feel and move and think and imagine, safe from the miseries of my waking consciousness. I was not a narcoleptic. I never fell asleep when I didn't want to. I was more of a somniac, a somnophile. I'd always loved sleeping. It was one thing my mother and I had enjoyed doing together when I was a child. She was not the type to sit and watch me draw or read me books or play games or go for walks in the park or bake brownies. We got along best when we were asleep. There we go. Well, that's a bit depressing in itself, isn't it? This character, all she wants to do is sleep, and that's the best memory she has of her and her mother. I should say, by the way, one of the reasons she might be unhappy is her parents both died while she was in college. Yeah, her dad from cancer, I think, and her mother from suicide. So that might have something to do with it. Anyway, she does manage to put herself to sleep for many hours of the day. And she has this annoying friend, Reva, who comes and goes in the book. And anyway, read it if you're interested. It's a great book. But let's get on to, is it good art or is it bad art? I think it's great. I thought it was fantastic. I think Ottessa Moshfegh taps into this dark side of humanity very well. I've also read her book Lapvona, which is similarly dark, but a totally different setting. Kind of medieval, Middle Ages, kind of setting for Lapvona. But let me read you a few quotes of critics about My Year of Rest and Relaxation, right? Because I think these are some great quotes here, especially from Gia Tolentino, who writes that Moshfegh builds a facade of beauty and privilege around her characters, forcing the reader to locate repulsion somewhere deeper. In effort, in daily living, in a world that swings between tragic and banal. Yeah, the tragedy of her dead parents and the banality of modern life, really. One of the things this protagonist does most is she just watches shitty movies on VHS in her few waking hours. I should say this is set in 2000, 2001. Initially, Moshfegh wanted to write a book about the 9/11 attacks, but in the writing, she actually changed her slant, and this book is barely about that. It does feature near the end. It does feature during the book, but not to a huge degree. Another quote, Ottessa Moshfegh is easily the most interesting contemporary American writer on the subject of being alive when being alive feels terrible. Yes, absolutely. Other novelists who are great at writing about this, when life sucks, well, Dostoevsky, I think, must be near the top of the list. Kafka, yes. She's sort of in that tradition, but with a very modern voice, very contemporary voice. Here's a quote from Dwight Garner, who says, Moshfegh writes with so much misanthropic aplomb, however, that she is always a deep pleasure to read. She has a sleepless eye and dispenses observations as if from a toxic eyedropper. Yes, misanthropic aplomb. I think that's a great way to describe her writing style. She manages to get to the heart of what can be so crap about life sometimes. So it's kind of nihilistic, to be honest, but there's a bit of absurdist, not absurdist, but it's how life is absurd, right? Life is just absurd. We might as well go to sleep, in a way, right? Of course, I don't want to do that in my own life. I'm quite a positive person, but it's quite fun to actually read about such things. Excuse me while I answer the door. Okay, we were nearly at the end of the 8 minutes there. That was the postman. This is proof. One take, often an email will arrive, a phone call will happen, who knows. But anyway, I've been whittering on about My Year of Rest and Relaxation. We're near the end, really, but basically it's a great book. She's a great writer. It's literature, right? It's not just a novel you pick up at the airport. It's literature. Go and read it. I give it a score of, check it out, 86 out of 100. Hope I've got these numbers the right way around. Anyway, thanks very much. Let me know what I should cover in my next video, and goodbye for now.